Well, welcome in. Going to talk about the press conference by Neal Brown today. First day of fall camp. That means we are 1 month away from the Penn State game. Quite a few things to talk about. I apologize if I'm not as sharp as I might be. I've been kind of a rough stretch, and some of you may know this is Rockus, who's also having a bit of a rough stretch. So bear with us and let's see if the caffeine will kick in as we go. I'll also be doing a video about my reaction to some comments and interviews by a member of the Penn State media who thinks West Virginia has no way, no path to victory in that game. I will discuss why his interview is a masterclass in logical fallacies. Yeah, I know it's football, not a college class, but hey, I'll make it fun. It is fun. Meanwhile, this is WVU football going deep. I am Forrest Poston. Oh boy. I am Forrest Poston all over. Rockus doesn't like the way he's being held. He wanted to come over. Now he's not so sure because I'm not just paying attention to him. Anyway, please subscribe, share, click thumbs up, click the notification bell, make comments, and tell your friends. As I said, Coach Neal Brown gave his press conference today to discuss fall camp. That included injury updates, and as usual, that's a mix of good news and bad news. We did find out how the roster gets down to 85. Favorous, and I think Rockus is going to give up on this. All right. We'll see how long it takes before he says he wants back up here. Anyway, Favorus is taking a special type of medical red shirt, removes him from the active roster. That was expected. He was my guess. And I think it's the professional media unofficially knew that that was coming. Also, Mo Hamilton. He was just moved from offensive line to defensive line, but evidently his injuries from last year, Coach Brown said lower back and legs. He's also technically taking the medical red shirt and off the active roster, but Coach Brown did say in his case he thinks it will be career-ending. So I know a lot of us wanted to see what Hamilton could do. Evidently, it is not going to be playing football. Other injury reports are mostly better than what we last heard. Spells is participating in a limited manner in camp, and there is hope he will be ready to play opening game. We were looking at, maybe not, maybe several games into the season, so this is an improvement, and that could help quite a bit. I think our other corners are sharp and strong, but having spells is certainly a good thing. McIntyre and Altuner may both be back by midseason or around midseason. So not gone for the whole season at this point. And that, again, before we were hearing, possibly or likely all or most of the season, so that's an improvement. Redwood is participating partial, and in 10 days or so, hoping he will be full go in camp. And yeah, he's a favorite of mine. I think if he can stay healthy, he is going to be a disruptive force while he's at WVU. And Fisher is still limited. Limited is better than out. So we have not seen him at all. I'm hoping he's going to have a big career. He is certainly an interesting possibility at this point. And that was pretty much it for the injury updates. Planning to make it a more physical camp to the degree that they can while trying to avoid injuries. There's going to be more game-like in several of the practices, and there will be 2 scrimmages. It's going to be general prep up until August 21st. Then they start the Penn State prep. Specifically talking about some of the other programs that help, the strength program, nutrition. Said once again, Mike Joseph is the best in the game. And, nutrition program have gotten it to where they want it to be. Of course, always working to improve. And since nutritional changes do take time for the benefits to show, we are really just starting to see that. Body fat, general appearance, all of those things are better than ever. So now, of course, a lot of other teams are doing similar things, but they are trying to keep West Virginia ahead in those areas. Also includes the sports psychology, which he says is also just here in the last 6 to 9 months has gotten to where they want it to be, making a big difference for players and staff. So I found that of particular interest. Also, because we have some of the consultants, graduates, some of the guys who could do no or limited coaching are now by the rules allowed to coach, which is, will take a lot of pressure off of the head of various rooms, allows them to break rooms up into smaller groups in different ways, and wants to make this a program that not only launches careers for players, but launches careers for coaches. I've said before, Neal Brown is a teacher, and it is the nature of a teacher to want to do things like that, to not just keep everybody there, but to improve the whole system even beyond the West Virginia program. Actually, West Virginia program, that's something I meant to mention at the beginning. Hey, I said I wasn't at my sharpest. Talked a bit about West Virginia being the winningest program in the current Big 12, and up near the top in a number of other categories, and yet not really getting a lot of notice or respect for that. And now this wasn't something Coach Brown said. This was my thought and reaction. West Virginia is a blue-collar state. It is a worker state, which is not to say, we don't have management, technology, all sorts of things. Maybe don't have as much as we should, but it has historically been, a place where the majority of the population goes to work, works hard, gets no recognition. If the workers do their job and the company does well, management gets the recognition, and the worker, hell, if they get a slight raise or a little bonus, they're lucky. Recognition, no. So it is, well, I don't want to say appropriate, but not unexpected that the West Virginia University football program would work hard, do well, and get no real recognition for it. Of course, technically they haven't really won a national championship. They've competed, but it is a blue-collar program. That's been said before. It just happens to extend to the recognition factor. Meanwhile, also kind of interesting, talked about players are not different from what they were like when he started coaching 22 years ago, but they are more informed. So now, I'm going to make a distinction here that Neal Brown doesn't make, because he said, since they are more informed, the players like to know why they're doing things. It's like, okay, we was talking about the nutrition program at the time, but applying it also to other things, including, how they do the football aspect. But he said, if players understand why you're doing something, they're more willing to do it. Now, to a certain degree, that's true. I think what Brown still underestimates is that it is true of a certain type of person and player. Some want to know why, some don't. Some are just, tell me what to do, I'll do it, or not. And some want more in depth. They want the understanding. Now, Coach Brown must have players who want to know why. His approach will only work when he has that type of player. I don't think it's something he necessarily consciously looks for in establishing the culture, but that has been the biggest difference. Players who were here before were largely those who didn't want to know why, or ones who, if they had been started out in that kind of a system, would have wanted to know. The things that split the psychology kind of get established pretty early. But for some people, it's still uncertain as they go into college. But I talk about that more on a non-football side. I won't go too much into it, but just kind of found it interesting. He focuses on that why. Anyway, also he's said early on that we now look like a Power 4 contender, especially because we're not starting players before they're ready. We're not playing freshmen or redshirt freshmen who haven't had time to fully develop. And when one of the reporters mentioned looking like a Power 4 team, Brown interrupted and said, Power 4 contender. He did not want to hear Power 4 team. He is being very specific. And I like that. He's not saying, hey, we're going to do this, we're going to win this or that. But we are a contender. Wants to make that very clear. Now, he did say some freshmen will be ready to play. We're not going to play hopefully not going to have to play freshmen before they're ready, but some are ready. Which ones isn't going to be clear until the first scrimmage. Now, we can make some guesses like Zay Jennings and that sort of thing, but We have progressed in that regard. Depth, development. Now, there has been talk about Jaheim White and sophomore slump. That is something that Coach Brown has been, going after directly. Sophomore slumps are real. He has been addressing it with White. He said, hey, if you have the same yards as last year, will you be satisfied? No. Of course, he only played half a season last year, so he dang well shouldn't be satisfied. But keeping him hungry, keeping him focused, keeping him working. He also mentioned that media outside of West Virginia has never asked about Jaheim White. That actually, when I talk about the guy from Penn State, that'll come up again. But imagine White was one of the top freshman running backs in the country, and people outside of West Virginia aren't even asking. Well, now that's a lack of respect, and they're going to regret it. Oh, they're going to regret it. Also mentioned that one of the most interesting things to him is redshirt freshman, because it's one of the biggest jumps for some of them between freshman year to redshirt freshman, spring camp to fall camp. Some of them are going to make a very big jump. Which ones is still unknown. And again, that's one of the things, first scrimmage will help shake that out. But there are some very talented players we have not seen that we will be seeing this year. That's part of the excitement. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the whole dang season. Coach Brown is as well. He said, 22 years of coaching, 10 years as a head coach, and he thinks this is as excited as he has ever been. Now, of course, Neal Brown is not one of these guys who shows his excitement a lot, in public anyway, but he is excited. Well, I was already excited, but that ups my level. So thanks for watching. If you have questions, something I didn't cover, put it in the comments. And I did forget to say, so I will cut this in after I say it now. Now, move it earlier in the video. Please subscribe, share, click thumbs up, click the notification bell, make comments, and tell your friends. Meanwhile, I'm going to go do that video about the Penn State guy who made so many false assumptions. And I hope he regrets it after the game. For now, so long.